What's up, Internet? This is Rambling Josh, and you're watching another episode of Let's Play Final Fantasy Tactics. Today we head to Delta. And as far as the map goes, Delta is actually very similar to Terminate, except that it's a little bit more kind of random levels and stuff. But it's also got a whole bunch of random gaps and stuff that kind of complicate your way finding your way around the map. There also aren't that a whole lot in terms of useful equipment, but we'll get them anyways. You never know, we might make use of some of them. Now today, I want to talk a little bit about, while I'm clearing my way through this dungeon, stat growths and how they work and stuff. Now, why would I wait until, practically the end of the game to explain stat growths? Well, ooh, that's a nasty death trap. It'll hopefully make sense when the time comes. But first, let's find out where these items I'm looking for are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1. Okay, so let's move over this way a little bit. Can I reach anyone from here? No. Anyways, as I was saying, the reason why I would wait until now is because, well, primarily just because in the long run, maybe not the long run, but it really doesn't make all that much of a difference for most of the game. Like, you can play through the entire game and not even really notice how stat growths work. Like, how should I put this? If you didn't already know how stat growths work, you would probably just naturally assume that your stats are tied to whatever class you are. And in part that is the case, because the stats that you actually see on your status character screen thingy, a lot of that comes from stat multipliers, which are unique to your class. But the way it works is every class also has every character rather has base stats, and when you change to a certain class, those base stats are multiplied by that class's stat multiplier, and that's how you get the stats that you see on your character sheet. Are you gonna kill me? No. I don't think these Minotaur things can do anything that can get past Blade Grasp, other than counterattacks. But anyways, so the way stat growths work is every time you level up, you gain a little bit towards your base stats, depending on what class you are. And that's where stuff that you might have noticed me mentioning throughout the game, stuff like, such and such class has a good stat growth for whatever stat. And that's basically the extent of it. So different classes will gain different stats at different speeds. Let's double check this. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 1. Can't quite reach that. I don't think, anyways. No. Okay. I could probably shoot you. And now the thing about stat growths is, like I mentioned, for 95% of the time, if you were to check your character sheet before and after you leveled up, you probably wouldn't even notice any difference. And that's because your stats kind of go up at a very slow rate. It's like it takes several levels for your stat growth to even kind of combine to be like worth one whole point. And that's why, you know, when you level up, usually the only thing you'll see actually gain is HP and MP. But over time it does make a big difference. For instance, if Ramza and Brett were to be made the same class, Ramza would probably have more speed than Brett because he spent time as a ninja. Now, hold on. So, am I mistaken in some way? Maybe I've got the map backwards. I must have the map backwards. Okay, well, I guess we'll figure that out after killing everything. Anyways, now, the reason these stat growths are important, the reason I didn't bother mentioning it up until now, is because there's also a little, stupid death sentence. There's also a little bit of a trick that you can use. See, I probably mentioned in a previous episode that there are these things called degenerator traps. Curses. His jump is not going to work. Oh well. And what degenerator traps do is they decrease your character's level. Now why is that useful? Well, you see, stat growths also work in reverse. So, if you were, say, a knight, and you leveled up, your base stats would go up by, you know, a certain amount determined by your, by the knight's stat growths. Whereas if you were to decrease your level, and you were a knight, then you would also, you would lose that much, your base stats would go down by that much. So you basically lose the exact same amount of stats as you just gained. But the reason that's important is because, needless to say, some classes have better stat growth than other ones. So, if you level up as a class that has good stat growths, or has stat growths that are more in line with what you want your character to have, and then level yourself down as a class with bad stat growths, like say a calculator who has terrible stats in every form, then the result is, if you level yourself back up again afterwards as another preferable class, then you actually gain stats in the long run. So that sounded kind of confusing, so let me try that again. The idea is, you level yourself up, say to level 99, normally throughout the course of the game, and that gets you up to level 99 with a good set of stats. And then you switch your class to a class with bad stat growths. and level yourself down. Because that class has bad stat growth, while you're leveling yourself down, you don't lose as much stats. And then you switch back to a class that has good stat growth and level up again. And the result is that you end up gaining stats in the long run. Because you're gaining more by leveling up than you lost by leveling down. And that's the main reason I would mention this. Let's use this to kind of... okay, yeah. You can use attacks and movements and stuff that have a really long range to kind of get a lay of the land in Deep Dungeon before people start crystallizing. So that's what I guess you could call the level up trick, or level up / down trick, or whatever you want to call it. Oh, curses. She's on the spot where an item is. Okay. And there's another one right there. So let's... well, let's move towards that anyways. And now I should start looking for the exit. Now, when it comes to kind of abusing your stats like that, it's... I really gotta remember that trap is there. It's nice to do, but in the end of the day, it's incredibly unnecessary. So let's see. There should be an item right there. No? Did I screw up the... what way I'm looking at the map again? Is it this way? I guess we'll find out soon? Oh, this map is kind of confusing. That's where we started. Did we start? Oh, whatever. I'm just gonna start looking for the exit. So, manipulating your stats to be like amazingly high and stuff is incredibly unnecessary. I mean, obviously it's something that you can do, but for the most part it really doesn't, like, you really don't have to. Just because, you know, even if you have absolutely no idea how stat growths work, it's pretty easy to just, like, there aren't a whole lot of challenges in the game that really necessitate that you abuse your stats. Okay, so there's one item, that's the Yoichibo. So the map is indeed this way, I guess. Yeah, okay. So the other item is around here somewhere. But, there isn't really anything in the game that's hard enough that you really need to worry about your stat growth that much. I mean, obviously it's ideal that you do the best that you can. But I mean, even if you have no idea how stat growths work, then it's not gonna like hold you back at all. No, not a steel needle. And just, I guess I should get Brett back up, and hopefully that will actually work. For in this direction towards the item I'm looking for. And just continue looking for stuff. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh. Yeah, it looks like the item is right here. And we get the Mace of Zeus. Neither of those items are likely to be something that I actually end up using, but they're there. Now, because this place is all, like, uneven and stuff, looking for the exit here can be kind of annoying. Aha! There we go. Found the exit. Now to finish off our friend over here. No 5 holy. Hopefully that should finish it off. Not quite. Okay. Well, we can deal with that. How much health does he have? 73. Wonder if I can do that much damage with a stone at this point in the game. I can't reach him, okay. Well, I can try jumping on him, but he's probably gonna end up dying before that happens. Or slash. And down he goes. And that is the end of that battle. Next time, we check out Valkyries on Let's Play Final Fantasy Tactics. Catch you later.